John D. Rockefeller. The name echoes through history, a colossus of industry, a master of capitalism. He was born into modest circumstances, yet he rose to become the richest man in modern times. His company, Standard Oil, revolutionized the oil industry. It shaped the very fabric of American business. Rockefeller's story is not just about wealth. It's about ambition, innovation, and power. It's a tale of ruthless competition and unprecedented philanthropy. This is the story of the man who built an empire on oil. This is the untold story of John D. Rockefeller. John Davison Rockefeller was born in 1839, a time when America was still finding its footing as a young nation. The country was on the brink of transformation, and so was the life of this young boy who would grow up to become one of the most influential figures in American history. His birthplace was a simple farmhouse in Richford, New York. This humble beginning was far removed from the opulence he would later achieve, but it was here that the seeds of his future success were sown. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman. Known for his charm and persuasive skills, he was a man who could sell anything to anyone. However, his methods were often questionable and his ethics were dubious at best. William's charisma was undeniable, but it came with a price. His questionable ethics and frequent absences left a lasting impression on young John, teaching him both the power and the pitfalls of persuasion. In stark contrast, his mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was a devout Baptist. She was a woman of unwavering faith and strong moral principles, providing a counterbalance to her husband's more dubious traits. Eliza instilled in young John a strong work ethic and a sense of morality. She taught him the value of hard work, honesty, and frugality, lessons that would stay with him throughout his life. Despite their contrasting personalities, both parents played crucial roles in shaping Rockefeller's character. The blend of his father's business acumen and his mother's discipline created a unique foundation for his future endeavors. From his father, he inherited a sharp business acumen. William's ability to see opportunities where others saw none was a trait that John would develop and refine over the years. From his mother, he gained discipline and a commitment to hard work. Eliza's teachings on the importance of diligence and perseverance were deeply ingrained in him. At a young age, Rockefeller displayed a natural talent for numbers. He was fascinated by the way numbers could tell a story, and he quickly became adept at managing finances. He kept meticulous records of his earnings and expenses, a habit that would serve him well in his future business ventures. His attention to detail was unparalleled, and he understood the importance of tracking every penny. He even lent money to neighbors, charging a small interest. This early foray into lending was a clear indication of his entrepreneurial spirit and his understanding of the value of money. These early experiences laid the foundation for his future success. They taught him the basics of business, finance, and the importance of seizing opportunities when they arose. They instilled in him the values of thrift, efficiency, and a keen eye for opportunity. Rockefeller learned to be frugal, to make the most of what he had, and to always be on the lookout for the next big opportunity. Little did he know these qualities would propel him to unimaginable heights in the burgeoning oil industry. His early lessons in business and finance would become the bedrock of his empire, leading him to become one of the wealthiest and most influential men in history. In the mid-19th century, America was gripped by oil fever. The discovery of oil in Pennsylvania ignited a frenzy. It promised wealth and opportunity. Rockefeller, then a young bookkeeper, saw the potential of this new industry. He was captivated by its volatile nature and immense possibilities. In 1863, at the age of 24, Rockefeller made his move. He invested in a small oil refinery in Cleveland, Ohio. This marked a turning point in his life. Rockefeller was no longer a mere observer. He was now a player in the high-stakes game of oil. He brought his meticulous bookkeeping and sharp business sense to the chaotic industry. Quickly, he realized that refining offered more stability than the unpredictable boom-and-bust cycle of drilling. This insight would guide his future endeavors and form the bedrock of his empire. The Standard Oil juggernaut, a monopoly, takes shape. The story of Standard Oil is one of ambition, strategy, and relentless pursuit of control. Rockefeller was not content with just owning a refinery. He saw the potential for something much greater, something that could dominate the entire oil industry. He envisioned a vertically integrated company, one that would oversee every step of the process, from drilling the oil out of the ground to delivering it to the end consumer. He wanted to control every aspect of the oil industry, from production to distribution. This meant not just owning the refineries, but also the pipelines, the storage facilities, and the transportation networks. With this goal in mind, he embarked on a series of strategic acquisitions and partnerships. He bought out competitors, negotiated deals, and formed alliances that would strengthen his position. In 1870, he formed Standard Oil. This was the beginning of a new era in the oil industry, one that would be defined by Rockefeller's vision and determination. This company would become synonymous with his name. It was not just a business, it was an extension of Rockefeller himself, embodying his principles and his drive for success. It would also become a byword for both innovation and ruthlessness. Rockefeller was known for his innovative approaches to business, but also for his ruthless tactics in dealing with competitors. Rockefeller was relentless in his pursuit of efficiency and control. He constantly sought ways to improve operations, reduce costs, and increase profits. He negotiated preferential rates with railroads. This was a key part of his strategy, as it allowed him to transport his oil at a lower cost than his competitors. This gave him a significant advantage over competitors. With lower transportation costs, he could afford to sell his oil at a lower price, undercutting his rivals. He also ruthlessly undercut rivals, forcing them out of business or into his fold. Those who could not compete with his prices had little choice but to sell out to him or go bankrupt. His tactics, while controversial, were undeniably effective. Many criticized his methods, but there was no denying the results. By the 1880s, Standard Oil controlled over 90% of the American oil market. This level of dominance was unprecedented and cemented Rockefeller's place in history. Rockefeller had achieved his goal. He had built an empire that spanned the entire oil industry, from the wells to the consumer. He had built a monopoly. Standard Oil was not just a company. It was a symbol of what could be achieved through vision, strategy, and relentless pursuit of control. Ruthless efficiency, Rockefeller's business tactics. Rockefeller's success was not solely due to his cutthroat tactics. He was a brilliant organizer and a tireless worker. He demanded the same from his employees. He constantly sought ways to improve efficiency and reduce costs. He invested heavily in research and development. This led to innovations in refining and transportation. One of his key strategies was horizontal integration. He acquired or absorbed competitors. This eliminated competition and gave him greater control over prices. He also implemented vertical integration. He controlled every step of the oil production process. This minimized waste and maximized profits. His methods were often ruthless. He was not afraid to crush rivals or exploit loopholes in the law. However, they were undeniably effective. Standard Oil became a model of industrial efficiency. It revolutionized the way businesses operated. Enemies and allies, the price of power. John D. Rockefeller, a name synonymous with immense wealth and power, was a figure who dominated the oil industry in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His journey to the top was marked by both admiration and animosity. Rockefeller's relentless pursuit of dominance came at a price. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was willing to go to great lengths to ensure that Standard Oil remained the preeminent force in the industry. His tactics earned him a reputation as a ruthless businessman. He employed strategies that were often seen as cutthroat, such as undercutting competitors' prices to drive them out of business and then raising prices once he had a monopoly. He was vilified by competitors and scrutinized by the government. The sheer scale of his operations and the methods he used to maintain control drew the ire of many, leading to numerous legal challenges and investigations. Journalists like Ida Tarbell exposed his questionable methods. Tarbell's meticulous research and scathing articles in The History of the Standard Oil Company painted a damning picture of Rockefeller's business practices. This fueled public outrage against Standard Oil. The public, already wary of big business, found a focal point for their discontent in Rockefeller and his empire. Despite the criticism, Rockefeller remained steadfast in his belief in his own methods. He was convinced that his approach was not only justified but also beneficial in the long run. He argued that his pursuit of efficiency and consolidation ultimately benefited consumers by providing cheaper, more readily available oil. In his view, the economies of scale achieved by Standard Oil allowed for lower prices and more reliable supply. He cultivated powerful allies in business and politics. These connections were crucial in helping him navigate the complex and often hostile landscape of American industry and government. This helped him navigate the increasingly hostile environment. With influential friends in high places, Rockefeller was able to fend off many of the challenges that came his way. The backlash against Standard Oil, however, was growing. Public sentiment was turning against the monopolistic practices of large corporations, and Standard Oil was at the center of this storm. The company had become a symbol of corporate greed and unchecked power. The image of Rockefeller as a monopolist who crushed competition and exploited consumers was hard to shake. This set the stage for a showdown with the US government and a legal battle that would redefine American business. The antitrust case against Standard Oil would become one of the most significant legal battles in the history of American industry, leading to the eventual breakup of the company and setting a precedent for future regulation of monopolies.